Hey, wonderful people. Happy New Year to everyone. I hope you guys really enjoyed your celebration. I hope you had a great time, and I hope you made some excellent New Year's resolution goals. Anyways, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Actually, I don't really believe in New Year's resolution goals, because you can start fresh any time of the year, okay? It doesn't have to be on New Year's. It doesn't have to be, okay? If that's what you want, that's fine, right? But, um, you know, you don't have to wait until next year, right? Or the entire year for you to make whatever you like happen in your life, right? You don't have to wait. You don't have to, you can decide. It's a mindset, right? So if you want to change something around, then you can decide today that you will change, and that you're going to get started on a certain project, right? Or you're going to whatever it is that you want to do, right? You can start today. You can start right now. It doesn't have to be on New Year's, right? So that's why I don't really believe in New Year's resolutions, although of course they help, right? But for the most part, I know this is how it goes, right? People make New Year's resolutions, right? Maybe they made too many goals, and you know that's not how it works, right? If you go after too many rabbits at the same time, you're not going to catch any, right? So, one thing that you do have to remember is that if you want to, you know, if you want to accomplish something, it's much better to just go after something, like one thing, right? One thing at a time, especially if it's a big goal, right? And to go slowly, right? Don't start out doing as much as you possibly can and burning out, right? Just remember that it's a marathon, it's not a sprint, right? And taking baby steps is often what it requires, right, to get to your goals. So start with one thing at a time and take baby steps, until you are finally able to get to your destination, right? Which should take some amount of time, right? Depending on what it is. But usually it takes a long time. Especially the big goals, right? And yeah, of course, it depends where you start too, right? So anyways, but this is not what this video is about, okay, guys? First of all, let me just give you my thoughts about the New Year's, right? I think that, everything in this world is backwards, we do a lot of things backwards, right? When one thing should be really like this, it really, basically, in this world, it's like that, right? Truth is hated, while, illusion is what's favored, right? And so on, right? So, and there are many examples that I can give you guys, right? But I'm not really going to talk about this in this video, right? What I want to talk to you about is how we celebrate the New Year's, right? We celebrate it in the middle of the winter, right? And basically what that means is that we're celebrating death, right? Instead of really celebrating life, right? So I think the best thing for us to do is to celebrate the New Year's, the start of the year, right? When everything becomes starts blooming, right? Blossoming, when people come out of their houses, when it gets warmer outside, right? When things start blooming, when people start falling in love, right? When birds start mating. That's that marks the beginning of life, right? Everyone and everything starts coming to life, and that's what we should be celebrating, not death, not when everything is still completely cold, right? Depending on where you're at, of course. I'm not talking about you Floridians. I'm talking about places that have winter, right? And so yeah, this is just something to ponder upon, right? Anyway, so in this video, guys, I want to talk to you about something, right? I want to talk to you about making this coming year about really clearing your life, right? Clearing your life, clearing your head, especially in particular, of the information that you're consuming, right? And it's not just the information that you're consuming, right? But it's the sources of that information, right? So clearing your life of sources of negative information, right? Because guys, why is this important, right? The reason being is because we are the equivalent of all the information that we consume, right? And sources of that information can be different, right? They can be for example, news, right? It can be coming from news, right? It can be coming from television, right? It can be coming from radio, right? It's the things that you listen to, music, right? It can be coming from your so-called friends, right? It can be coming from billboards, right? And advertising that you see on billboards, on I don't know, even different packages, right? It can be coming from games, right? So just take inventory of what you expose yourself on a daily basis, right? And the reason why I kind of like decided to make this video, right, is because, I've been watching like a lot of YouTube lately, right? And I've realized that a couple of different channels, or they were negatively impacting me, right? And the thing is, these people, right? These YouTube, stars, or these YouTube people, they put out a lot of different content, right? And they put out content almost every single day, right? So I basically consume their content almost every single day, right? And I realized something, right? Eventually I started kind of feeling like it was negatively impacting me, right? My mood just became not so good, right? I also started thinking like a little bit negatively about guys, right, in general, and I usually don't, right? And that's the reason being is because I'm not gonna mention the YouTube channel because I don't want to slander it, right? But this particular girl, right? She was talking about. I realized that most of her videos. Yes, I did learn a lot of good things from that channel too, right? And basically it's a video. It's like videos about basically valuing yourself, right? And just treating yourself well, right? While at the same time, I realized that this particular channel was overly focused on how bad like men were, right? And how much damage they do to our society, right? And how they use women. All they do is use women, right? And so on, right? So I realized that a lot of her videos were just really overly they were biased, and they were overly negative, and she talked about and she's even though she says, oh, guys, I still love guys, right? And I think there's some good men out there, right? She's still overly focused on how bad men are, right? And I feel like it's really, maybe she doesn't realize it, right? But it's coming from a place of hurt, right? And I think there's something in her, right, which isn't healed, and so she is putting out content that is very much in reflection to that pain that she has experienced in the past, so, and of course all of us are going to be affected by that content, right, especially if we consume it on a daily basis, right? So be careful, really, guys, be careful what you are consuming, okay? Because have you ever heard about like affirmations, right? or programming, right? Like childhood programming. What is childhood programming anyways, right? Childhood programming is basically kind of like this, right? Let's just say your parents were overly negative, right? Or maybe overly positive about something, right? So they praised you, or maybe they put you down, right? And you probably heard the same thing over and over and over again, right? Day in and day out. Maybe they called you stupid, right? And so you heard that, right? Or maybe they told you how smart you were, right? Every single day. So eventually, of course, our brain is going to be impacted, right? And so, there you go. Over time, right, you acquired that information and you made it your own, right? Eventually, you accepted that information as the truth, right? As your truth, and you kind of became that what you were told you were, right? And so over time, you began to think, okay, if you were told that you were stupid all the time, then you will begin to think of yourself as stupid, right? And you will also, your actions will also reflect, because your self-esteem gets affected, right? Your actions from now on, right, will become affected too, right? So you will make actions in alignment with your self-esteem, or what you think of yourself. Okay, so that's why people with low self-esteem, or who were put down as kids, for example, right, they're going to make decisions, right, and actions based on how much they think they're worth, right? Or based on what they think of themselves. So if it's negative, their decisions, their actions are going to be probably negative, right? So they're not going to go out after jobs that are great, right? And that they probably are capable of doing, right? They're going to probably go out after, dead-end jobs, right? They're not gonna strive to be the best, basically. They're going to go after people that also devalue them, right? Because they don't think they deserve any better, right? And basically, like I said, right, information is so extremely important. That's the reason why I decided to make this video, right? And same, I'm gonna go back to the childhood, right? If you were told how smart you were, right, how much you're capable of, right, and so on, then that's what you're going to think of yourself, okay? And your actions will also, reflect that, right? And so that's why, and it's not just our parents, right, guys? It's also the music that you listen to, right? It's what you hear on the news, right? It's what, like I said, it's everything that you expose yourself to. It's all the information, right? And so, like, for example, right, I'm going to give you some examples with music, right? There's this song, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar, right? But it goes like, dumb, young, and broke, dumb, young, and broke, right? And so, yes, that will also ultimately affect you, okay? Listening to that, right? Because once again, right, a lot of music is played over and over and over again, right? Especially if you're driving your car, right? You're listening to the same songs every single day, right? And if those songs, like in your childhood, are repeated over and over and over to you, you're gonna become that information based. Singing this to yourself, right? You're going to identify with those words, okay? Your subconsciousness is gonna think that this is about you, okay? So yes, it is extremely, extremely important to expose yourself to the right information, okay? Once again, right, another thing that you have to be, you have to be aware of, right, is that, why is negative information, right, so addicting, right? The reason being, right, guys, is because the same neural pathways are activated, right, when we expose ourselves to negative information. So the same ones as when we expose ourselves to positive information. Okay, so we get addicted to the positive just as much as we get addicted to the negative too. Okay? So, anyways, guys, so basically, right, why are you so addicted to negative information, right? The reason being is, once again, it has to do with certain hormones in your body, right? So, one of them is cortisol, right? Your brain likes cortisol. Okay, so, and also dopamine, right? So yeah, once you expose yourself to negative information, your brain gets a boost of dopamine, right, which makes you feel good, right? And so that's the reason why you keep on coming back to either the positive or the negative, right? And trust me, guys, I noticed this about myself too. I was thinking, like, although a lot of these YouTube channels that I watched were kind of negative, right? I still wanted to watch them. And I was like, why am I doing this? Like, why do I keep on coming back even though I don't really want to, right? And I think a lot of that's why a lot of the media is so negative too, because they know this, right? They know this about us, right? They know our psychology, so that's the reason I think on why a lot of the news is also negative, right? But of course, it doesn't have to be this way, right? And I believe it's done on purpose. It's to keep people in a fear-based state, right, at their lowest vibration. So all they're thinking about is survival, right? Their survival and how to survive the next scary thing, right? That is talked about, right? And so that's why I also think it's extremely important if you want to change your own life around, right? And that's where it starts, right? It's all about you taking control of your life and really, making a conscious choice to stop exposing yourself to negative information on a daily basis. Because, like I said, right, it is going to affect you, it's going to affect your mood, right? And in turn, it's going to affect everything about your life, right? It's going to affect your relationship, right? If you're in a bad mood, you're probably going to yell at someone, right? You're not going to be as nice, as kind to other people around you, right? And so eventually over time, right, your environment is going to reflect what you feel like inside, right? So yeah. So which information, guys, should you stay away from, right? First of all, the news, right? Why the news? Okay, yes, watching the news, I suppose, is to an extent important, right? But at the same time, okay, a lot of the stuff that you're watching on the news, there's nothing, absolutely nothing that you can do about what is happening, okay? And yes, bad things will always happen, just like good things, right? There's a balance, right? A lot of great things are happening, but maybe we don't hear or see them, right? And just like a lot of bad things are happening, and oftentimes we are exposed to those bad things, right? Because the news is mostly negative, right? They show us the negative side of humanity, right? And so if you do watch the news, because it's so biased, you're gonna start thinking that, this world is just terrible, right? You're gonna start thinking that you have nothing left to live for, right? That you really should just like die, right? Like, what's the point of life when everyone is so mean, everyone is so vicious, right? You're gonna start thinking just like this news wants you to think, right? You're gonna also become biased. You're gonna become scared. You're gonna also tell your children that this world is unsafe, right? If you have children, right? So really, guys, stop watching the news, okay? I don't watch the news anymore, and my life has never been better, because I don't watch the news. Honestly, I don't want to, I don't want to hear about the war that none of us even wanted in the first place, okay? I don't want to hear about any of those wars. I don't want to hear about people dying, soldiers dying for the greed of our so-called leaders, right? That most of us didn't want to even elect, right? As if that matters anyways. And you're kidding yourself if you think your vote matters, okay? A lot of choices, a lot of what we're exposed to, a lot of what the people want is disregarded, okay? It's not us who make the rules. It's not us the regular people, the regular folks who make the laws, the rules, right? It's not. It's the people in high positions. It's the Davos group, right? It's the people who have all the power, right? It's the people who who can speak with their money, right? They're the ones that the likes of Bill Gates, right? And George Soros and so on, right? It's these people that ultimately have the power, right? Or at least financial power, okay? To, to tell everyone else what to do, right? They won the wars. It's profitable for them, It instills more fear into everyone. It creates division amongst people, right? And that's ultimately what they want, divide and conquer, right? It's easier to rule people this way when they're fighting against one another, right? The more of us regular folks that get killed, the better it is for them. Do you think they care? No. Ukraine versus Russia, I'm Russian, right? I love the Ukrainian people. If you're a good person, I love you. You're amazing, right? If you're a bad person, you have work to do. You should work on yourself, right? At the end of the day, I think most of us are striving to be good. Anyways, but I'm going off the tangent here, right? So let's get back to which information to stay away from, right? So it's the news, because ultimately you can't change what is happening, right? You can only change your own life, okay? And that will, that positive change will affect everyone else too. Trust me, it will positively affect everyone else, okay? So then there are bad friends, right? They're also sources of bad information, okay, or negative information, okay? They can also negatively alter your life, right? Because if you keep bad company, right, they're going to tell you things that are going to ultimately affect you, right? They're going to impact your psyche. You're gonna start thinking, okay, yeah, maybe they pressure you to drink or something, right? So you're gonna think, okay, maybe I should just have a shot or something, right? And you don't usually drink, but you'll have a shot, right? So, and then maybe you'll have another shot. Maybe then you'll start drinking more, right? And then your life will start getting impacted, right? Then you're gonna have hangover in the morning. You're gonna feel bad throughout the entire day, right? Your bad feelings, they're gonna start attracting negative situations into your life too, right? Your bad health, right? Maybe your health will start declining, right? So like you see, right, it's like a little chain reaction, right, that's happening here. So you have to be really, really aware of the people that you associate yourself with, right? What kind of things are they telling you, right? Are those things are they positively impacting your life or negatively, right? How do you feel after hanging out with them? Do you feel better about yourself or do you feel worse, right? Oh my goodness, it's really cold in my house right now. So anyways, I need to start the fireplace again. So so yes, like I said, right? The YouTube channel, right? If you guys are consuming a lot of YouTube content, hopefully mine, I'm just kidding. Then make sure that it's not one-sided, right? Make sure that it's not, it doesn't make you eventually feel like you hate the opposite sex, right? Make sure it's not biased. Make sure it's even, right? I really, really do like YouTube channels that kind of talk about two sides, right? They don't, for example, if you're talking about man and woman, right? I like when they're saying, okay, well, men can be this way, while at the same time, some of them can be this way too, right? And so can women, right? So the truth is always somewhere in the middle, right, guys? So make sure you're consuming content that's not overly biased, right, on to one side, and that they take two sides into consideration, right? And because, like I said, once again, right, if you consume content that's overly negative about something, right, then you're gonna start getting impacted too, and you're gonna start thinking the same way. And that's not, it's not a good thing, basically, right? So anyways, music, right? Listen to music that uplifts you also, right? If it has bad words, right? Actually pay attention this year. Pay attention to what you listen to, right? Is it because when the like musical frequencies, right? They're when you listen to music, right, you become especially highly susceptible to the words that are played out too, okay? Especially when music is involved, right? And so be careful with that too, right? That's why it's extremely important to. I know a lot of songs on the radio, right? Especially a lot of songs that are coming from Hollywood, right? They have like an awesome beat, right? It's so great, like it's so catchy, right? And that makes you remember the words quicker, right? And then before you know it, you're singing along to like, I'm scary, I'm ugly, right? My self-confidence is low. Like, woohoo, yeah, I'm so self-unconfident. I'm so broke, woohoo, right? Like, it's insane, right? So it's, once again, right? If you sing words like this, right? You're going to start, eventually you're gonna accept this as your own personal truth, okay? Your subconsciousness is susceptible to those things, right? So be careful. Don't repeat things to yourself, even through songs that you don't want to think, that you don't want to become your own personal truth, okay? So yeah. Anyways, be careful with games, right? Be careful with ads. Of course, certain ads we can't avoid, which is okay. Be careful with games too, right? Like there's a lot of violence in games, right? Like women kicking, like guys kicking girls, girls kicking guys, and so on, right? That just desensitizes you, right? You shouldn't be exposing yourself to that, right? It is not okay to kick. It's not okay to hurt anyone, right? Whether male or female, right? Be careful, right? And then also, be careful where you go also, right? I believe that it doesn't matter where you're at, and it doesn't matter what your day was like, right? We should all be treating one another kindly and with respect, right? And if you go to places, right, to stores, for example, that don't treat you well, just don't go there anymore, unless they have a monopoly, which, there are laws about that, right? Like antitrust laws or something, right? In America, monopolies are not allowed, right? And of course, they still happen, right? Businesses still get around that. But unless the place has a monopoly, which in most cases it doesn't, right? I live in a fairly small town, and we have plenty of options here still, right? And so I do not go to places that don't treat me well, right? If the customer clerks, right, are rude to you for no particular reason, if you're kind to them, right, if you didn't even do anything and they're just disrespectful and rude, just don't go to that store anymore, just make sure that I don't know, go to places that treat you well. Go to places that give you that royal treatment, whether you're a guy or a girl, right? Support those places, right? They deserve to be supported, right? Spend your money there, like speak with your money, right? You're the customer, right? You probably shop there every day, every other day, right? And so over time, you spend a lot of money at those places, right? And if they're not treating you well, then they don't deserve your hard-earned money, right? You know, someone else deserves it that will treat you well, right? So don't put up with any maltreatment, okay? Yeah, so, because once again, right, the way some people treat you, whether you want it or not, sometimes, even if it's just for an hour or so, right, your mood will also get affected, right? If someone is rude to you, they're looking at you like you're nothing or something, right? Of course, that has everything to do with the way that they feel about themselves, right? And their own traumas and so on. But this is none of your business, really, right? Their stuff is their stuff, your stuff is your stuff. How they're treating you, right, because of themselves is none of your concern, really, and it shouldn't be affecting you, right? And if it is, take your business somewhere else. That's it, you know. Anyways, so once again, right, if you're not feeling well, right, if you're feeling down, it could be the information that you're consuming, right? So make sure that this year you check the information that you're consuming, that you expose yourself, right, to. If you're depressed, if you're anxious, if you're scared, right, if you're feeling down, make sure that the information that you're consuming is positive, from the music, from the movies that you watch, right? Scary movies, I will warn you against those too. You know, yeah, once again, they might, you know, release certain hormones that make you feel alive, right, and good. But they do a number on your soul, right? They you know, they're not good for our soul, guys. They, you know, they desensitize us also, right? Because people get killed there, we see blood, right, and so on. So really, it's not something that we should be consuming, right? And yeah, so stay away from horror films, right? Stay away from anything really that makes you feel bad, negative. If you want to change your life, right? If you want to alter it and make it very positive. Let me see. What else? Yeah, so when you go out there, right? Instead of, you know, like you know, going to places that you don't like, right? Visiting friends that you don't really want to see, right? And doing the things that you don't really... I know sometimes we have to do things that we don't particularly enjoy doing, and that's fine, right? Some of the time, right? But try to eliminate as many of those as you possibly can, right? So try to actually do things and go to places that you like, right? So, you know, just think of those things as your energy fillers, right? Go to places that you like, right? Why go to places that you don't like? It makes no sense, right? See people that you want to see. See people and speak to people that uplift you, and don't speak to people that don't uplift you and that don't make you feel good, right? Avoid those things, right? And situations. Yeah, and that's pretty much it, you know, guys. I hope you've really enjoyed this video. I wasn't going to make it today because me and my kiddo, we like last week, I think we got a virus or something, or I don't know, we've been dealing with like some mold in my house, so I had to like learn how to clean it. So last week we ended up in the hospital, and both like throwing up, and so I don't know what it was, right? But I think maybe it was a virus, you know. But everything is fine now, and things are good. And I hope you guys are amazing. Please subscribe if you haven't already done so, and stay tuned for my next video, guys. Much love to you, okay? Mwah. And Happy New Year, okay?